and welcome to the epilogue of DK Vine Done Slow, Donkey Kong Country 3. So, we beat the game last time. 103% beat it. And what else is there to do? Well, not a whole lot, but there's a far more robust cheat code system in Donkey Kong Country 3 than there were in its predecessors. There were cheats in both Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2. But the DKC3 team really went overboard in what you could do. In fact, some of the cheats, if you input them before you start a save file, you can actually get 2 more extra percentage points. So instead of 103%, you can get 105%. And that's also a way you can beat Cranky's time, or at least Cranky's score, that is, and achieve Immortal Monkey status. And then if you get 105%, you get a little trophy of Cranky in a gi doing karate, which would be reused as Cranky's character model in the GBA remake of this game. All that being said, I thought it would be a fun little cooldown for the entire Donkey Kong Country trilogy on the Super Nintendo for me to have a bonus stream that I sort of tack on the end. This isn't canon. This isn't part of the story of DKC3, because my view has always been that cheats are not canon unless they are incorporated from a story perspective in game. So like Cheeto in Banjo-Kazooie, those cheats are canon. Tonics in Ukulele, that sort of thing. Just putting in buttons on a menu to augment the game reality is not canon. So I don't view 105% to be a canon mode. Like it's there for the fans if they want to do it, challenge themselves. But I don't view that to be this quintessential thing to say I beat the game completely. That being said, it's worth checking out. So let's jump right into it. Not jump into the home screen there. There we go. So there is our VHS tape. It's complete. However, so there's two tiers really towards doing this. You can input some of these codes into a pre-existing save file, and it creates a temporary effect that will only be good through that session. It will not save permanently to your game. However, stuff like the codes that remove most of the DK barrels from the game will not come into play. You can't use those on pre-existing save files. You can, I think, remove the star barrels, but it gets confusing and convoluted, and I'm not entirely sure on all of the rules, but it's going to be cleaner and easier if we just input them on a new save file. So I have to pull these up here because I don't have these committed to memory, nor do I have the mechanics to access them committed to memory. It is a button combination. So let me see here. So it's L R R L R R L R L R, and then we got the enter code screen. All right, so from here there are temporary, so these would be temporary if we were to put them on the first VHS tape or our pre-existing save file. We're doing this before the tape is even written, so these will in fact be permanent on this save file. So let's do a save. Now this is a lesser known one. This one completely bypasses the save cave. You can save automatically. The game saves automatically for you, as DKC games would going forward. Starting with GBC Donkey Kong Country Remake, I guess, would do away with the save points. I forget if you have to, like, save manually still, but it gives you the option to save anywhere. Anyway. Okay, there we go. This is not going to be as time-consuming as putting in the damn stop and swap codes in Banjo-Kazooie were. A save. Oh, it just reset the game. Okay, let me see. L R R L R R L R. Okay, enter code. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Okay, it didn't reset at that time, so whatever I did for A save didn't go through. Okay, so let's try, let's do again. L, R, R, L, R, R, L, R, L, R. Okay, we're in. Let's try A save again. Okay, that went through. So now let's do color. By the way, changes the color that of the clothing that Dixie and Kitty wear, which we'll see very obviously. L R R L R R L R L R. Okay, so let's do the infamous. I think this is the most famous one of the bunch. Mary. This is totally out of season from when we're doing this, but it's okay. Okay, that's another code. So this one, hold on, we got to put up the, so it's L R R L R R L R L R, and then this is water. So this one, lesser known one, very impactful though. This is similar to the Creme coin sheet in DKC2 that you can access in the captain's cabin of the Gangplank Galleon in Pirate Panic. This one's a little bit, I don't know, I think this is a little bit of a cleaner system here rather than that convoluted method. Okay, that's in. Now there is one called lives that will give us 50 lives from the start. However, if you put that in there, you will not be able to get Immortal Monkey. You will be stuck with Cheat and Chump on the screen. So I might just bypass lives because it seems like the game doesn't want me to do that. Even though oh, it reset. Really? I have to put them all in again? So if I take too long on the title screen, what it's doing is it's resetting to the beginning, which to the actual title screen. So I think that there must be some sort of timer on here. Well, that makes it harder. Literally, I was trying to put in harder, and I was so close. All right, you know what? I gotta be quicker, so I need to stop explaining these. I was 2 away from getting all the ones I wanted to put in. So, alright, let's, no. I didn't want to do that. Here, why don't we... Okay, now let's be quick because the game doesn't like me doing this. L R R L R R L R L R. Okay, so we'll do come on. We'll do A save first. What I wouldn't give for a keyboard to do this. Okay. L, R, R, L, R, R, L, R, L, R. Okay, I almost have it memorized. Color. Oh, where am I going? You know, Professor. L, R, R, L, R, R, L, R, L, R. Alright, let's do water. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, L, R, R, L, R, R, L, R, L, R. Let's do Mary. I'll be Mary. Oh no! I'll be Mary if I can get all of these in. For the timer. Okay, L, R, R, L, R. Okay. Now let's do... Okay. Getting good at this. Alright, this is the last one. I'll explain it all. Okay. And we'll call this one Okay, there we go. Whew. So you can see Dixie's now in a shade of purple. Hello there, it's me, Mrs. Wrinkly Kong. Yeah, we know. We know how it goes. Actually, we don't, because if a save worked right, I won't need to do a damn thing. A save saves automatically. Which they had the technology to do that all along. Alright, so remember water. Well, let's go see what that did. So, ordinarily there wouldn't be anything up here at this waterfall. This is just an obstacle. Like, the real thing to get would be beyond these rocks. There's a banana bird cave. But, if you put in water... What? That's pretty cool. Alright, secret cave. X, A, Y, B. B, A, X, A, Y. I got it wrong. That's fine. Oh my god, it locked me out. It locked me out of the fucking cave because I got it wrong. That's embarrassing. Welp, not much to do. So, yeah, that's... If I would have gotten it right, that would have gotten me 85 bonus coins right out of the gates. You can put that in anytime on your save file, though. So I will try to demonstrate that properly before we end this stream. Let's charge forward. Can't believe I screwed that up. Alright. And Kitty's wearing green. I don't know. It isn't as dramatic as Diddy wearing yellow, which I really love Diddy's alternate outfits in these games. These are, I believe, taken from the two-player contest versions of Dixie and Kitty. But, they're alright. I like purple Dixie more than I do like aqua green kitty. Alright, so here we are. We are in Lakeside Limbo with our newly recolored Kongs. Now, like I said, no DK barrel. We are in harder and toughs. It takes out most of the DK barrels in the game, and it takes out these star barrels. So the game is harder, and it's tough. Now, this is what the Mary code does. So we got Jangle Bells, this Christmassy rendition of the bonus theme, and we have ornaments. Instead of stars, you're collecting ornaments. And why the change? Well, this is like one of the only times that Rare, I guess, acknowledges that this is a holiday release. I mean, it came out late November 1996, so they put in these codes so you could get festive if you wanted and have holiday themed bonus stages. And I don't know when they first released these codes, when people learned about them. If it actually made it in time for the holiday season 1996, or if people found out like in January. But it's pretty cool. You get that piece of music that you don't hear anywhere else. And for the bananas, you got presents. And these have kind of become, I don't want to say like iconic presents, because most people don't know about this mode, but just the way they look has been referenced in numerous fan things over the years. Hello to Jeffrin in the chat. Hopefully he didn't see me screw up that waterfall code. I do like Dixie in purple, I have to say. She was also in purple in DKC 2. There, I think they changed her hair a little bit. And you can see the flags also change now. We've got purple flags instead of pink. Let's keep going. I don't play around with these codes really well. I think it was like a one-time thing that I tried them out when I learned about them. Probably Nintendo Power printed them or whatever, but it's cool that they're there. Not for me, really, but alright, kitty. No, come back. Those are fun ornaments. I wish we could have a higher version of them than sort of the more pixelated versions. Like, I want a full render of those. I wonder if anybody's ever tried to make those ornaments. Obviously, nobody's gonna sell them these days. Rare wouldn't touch it because, you know, It's in a game Nintendo owns, and Nintendo wouldn't touch it because, well, that's not Nintendo style anyway, even though, you know, they could just... And who would know? Like, oh, it's the ornaments from Donkey Kong Country 3. What do you mean, what ornaments from Donkey Kong Country 3? Oh, if you put in the Mary code, what are you talking about? So, they would sell probably half a dozen. How far am I gonna play today? That's probably no further than the End of World 1. I will have to go back and try that water code again. I feel bad about screwing that up. I thought I had more than one shot, like a banana bird cave, so I wasn't really committing to the bit. And here we have find the token, but it's just with the song. There's nothing really holiday themed about it, other than, you know, I guess that's more of an Easter egg hunt if you have to find something. So maybe the Christmas pickle, that's something you have to find during the holiday season. It's a Germanic tradition where you hide a pickle on the Christmas tree. I feel like Kitty's aqua green pajamas just they don't work for me because it's such a low-key change. I know there's not a whole lot of change between pink and purple for Dixie, but like the red to yellow for Donkey's tie and oh god, and Diddy's shirt and hat. It's so striking. It's basically inverting the colors they're known for, and yeah, it's alright. But there's Kitty's green flag. Well, I didn't even talk to Bazaar, but we'll talk to Barnacle. Okay, bye, Barnacle. Alright, let me try to shake off the rust with these caves. X, A, B, X, X, A, B, X. Wow, remember when these were so short? So, I don't know. I feel like I wrapped up my thoughts on DKC 3 last time, but you know, been thinking about it a little bit more, and I just really feel like this game gets a raw deal. And I really just think once misconceptions or perceptions set in, it's hard to really shake them, especially for those who've never played the game. So you just hear, oh, the third one, it has a baby in it. Oh, it's not as good as the 1 and 2. And for the record, I think that's completely wrong. Like, as much as I love the original Donkey Kong Country, and as important it is to me, and as I feel like it does some things better than its sequels, like as far as like mood goes, it's a lot more ambient of a game in tone and tenor. But I feel like Donkey Kong Country 3 is a far better game than Donkey Kong Country 1. It is. It just completely is. Like there are things it doesn't do as well. Arguably, like maybe the tone is a little bit more cartoony in this one. I mean, it is, but I would argue it's not nearly as bad as Donkey Kong 64's cartoony vibes. Diddy Kong Racing, I'll give a pass because it's not a Donkey Kong game, right? I feel like Diddy Kong Racing can afford to be a little bit more out there with your did I screwed that up? God. I did that my first playthrough too. It's alright. That's what death looks like when you put in all the codes. Looks pretty similar. Anyway, I think this walks the line. It gets right up to where the cartooniness would be off-putting, but it doesn't cross it. In my opinion. I know others might disagree, but I also really like the cartooniness in Diddy Kong Racing. I think it works for that game. Donkey Kong 64 is where I think it becomes confused in the series. Because Donkey Kong 64 is a moody game at times. It actually captures some vibes very similar to the original Donkey Kong Country in a way that the series hasn't really recaptured, but then you go through a hallway and then it's just nonsense again. So I think DKC3 struck the right balance though, and it is Dixie Kong's game, so part of her personality extends outwards into the tone, but I would argue that where Donkey Kong Country, the original, doesn't really, oh, come on! Doesn't really stick the landing as well. It's like, the last world is kind of... It just peters out. It's Chimp Caverns. And I like a lot of the levels in Chimp Caverns, but as a final world, it's just kind of, oh, more caves. And Donkey Kong Country 3 doesn't have that problem. I feel like Chaos Core is an exciting last world. Krematoa is an exciting last world. Not as exciting as the Lost World in DKC 2, but we're not talking about DKC 2. We're talking about DKC 1. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country 3's ending isn't as good as DKC 2, but is it better than Donkey Kong Country 1? Yeah. Donkey Kong Country 1 doesn't really have much of an ending. You get the bananas back, which is a satisfying visual, and then you've just got Cranky talking to you, and then you've got that little extended credit scene where Donkey and Diddy beat each other up, which is fun, not really much of an ending. So at least this has an ending. You know it's over. Cranky has the sinuses, the end. So yeah, I think we compared DKC 3. Oh, what? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. We compare DKC 3 to so much to DKC 2, which I agree, it doesn't live up to DKC 2 in most areas. But Donkey Kong Country, I think it excels. It builds on what DKC 2 did better than Donkey Kong Country 1. And so when people say Donkey Kong Country 3 isn't as polished or fun as Donkey Kong Country 1, it's all subjective. Everybody has an opinion, and I'm not going to disagree. If you like Donkey Kong Country 1 better than this game, obviously it has some things going for it that its sequels can't replicate, but I don't know. I think it's a weird take most of the time. I think Country 2 and 3 are just far superior sequels. The only thing Donkey Kong Country 1 does do better, like I said, is that tone, that mood, that that's really cool and very unique. And I don't know, the gameplay is a little bit more kinetic. There we go. Finally. It's a lot more well, like that kind of thing. You can breeze through a stage, bopping on enemies, swinging on vines, and Country 2 and this game, especially this game, I feel are a lot more meticulous, and some might say plotting. I like it. I like anything that makes you stop and really examine what's going on, but that stop and start gameplay isn't for everybody, for sure. So yeah, basically DKC3 gets a bad rap. Like, I can absolutely see people saying, I don't like the structure of the game. I don't like how every level has a quote-unquote gimmick, right? But it is the third game in a series. I think it justifies its existence quite well. And as I've said before, the map screen in particular, the Brothers Bear, the item bartering system. Could it have been more in depth? Sure, but for 1996, for the fifth game in a series, third in a trilogy, I think it evolves things in just the right way. Well, this is actually feels appropriate in this level. Get any snow this winter. It's almost spring. It'll be spring in like a week officially, and we had like a light dusting. Meanwhile, it snowed in Los Angeles. I don't know what's happening anymore. Like things like coin, right? That's a clever way to not just repeat the hero coins of Donkey Kong Country 2 and Land 2. And it's just like, okay, well, if we incorporate them, what can we do differently? And I like that they thought like that it wasn't just we're making Donkey Kong Country 2 again, but this time we're gonna, swap out Diddy for a new sidekick character for Dixie. I think it's a shame that this team, which was, comprised of what I call the understudies from the original two games, and some new faces. It's a shame they didn't get to make another one. Like, for all the talk about Donkey Kong Country 4, Rare wanted to do it heading into the Nintendo DS era based on the strength of the GBA remakes, like the financial strength. They did great numbers, all three of them. Unfortunately, they did such great numbers that Nintendo realized Donkey Kong Country is what the Donkey Kong brand probably needs to be going forward. Here, we'll give Kitty some love. And, well, we don't want to just waste the next Donkey Kong Country game, a series that's been in hibernation at that point for a decade. We don't want to waste it on this outside studio owned by the competition that can only do a game for a handheld. We want this to be on the Wii, ergo Donkey Kong Country Returns. But as I often point out on the conversation, it was Rare who really saved the Donkey Kong Country brand post-buyout. I mean, just a fun, almost ironic turn of events where the brand identity of Donkey Kong was all over the map. I know some will argue that, but really, Nintendo wasn't sure what direction to take Donkey Kong post-Rare, and it was Namco's Donkey Konga games. It was using the bongos for a Donkey Kong Country style platformer, but with all new characters sans Donkey Kong. It was Mario versus Donkey Kong. Maybe they take it back more in the arcade direction and make Donkey Kong an antagonist to Mario again. It was Payon, who were taking at least the lore and the continuity of Rare's games, but doing something different with it. And then we had Rare doing the GBA remakes of their old games, and those were the most successful. and it showed there was still an appetite for Donkey Kong Country, even though critical consensus at the time had turned against the series. Just the generational turnover that the Geek Critique Josh Wallen and I often talk about when we podcast together, just how every 10 years or so, then what was in vogue, unless it's something that's just this behemoth that doesn't let up, like Pokemon. Anytime you give any breathing room or a jumping off point, that's when the knives come out. And they came out for Rare and Donkey Kong, unfortunately. But it was vindicated, at least, at the end. So, anyway, all that being said, Donkey Kong Country 3, I love it. I love it so much. I don't agree with the criticisms. I think it's fun. I think it's clever. I think it's flawed in some areas, but they don't really matter. Just like, you know, honestly, all the Donkey Kong Country games are flawed in some regard. Maybe not 2. 2's the closest that you can come to perfection, but they are the video game series that does what I like the most. So even though there are quibbles, it doesn't really matter to me, because where it excels, what it gets right, is so strong that I'm able to overlook the minute details. I think Donkey Kong Country 3 is just, yeah, it's got some minute details. Just wanted to take him out. What? Knowing what we know about the development of Donkey Kong 64, originally Donkey Kong 64 is going to be more of a follow-up to this, at least in a... Not like a direct, oh, this is going to be Dixie and Kitty and everything, Northern Hemisphere. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But Andrew Collard was heading up DK64 before George Andreas took over. So I think it would have had more of the tone and vibes of DKC3. And George Andreas, who, at least as the producer, the mastermind, on par with Greg Mayles or Andy Collard, you know, hadn't done that for Donkey Kong, and so there is a bit of a tonal mishmash there. I would have loved to have seen the original vision that, you know, immediately they couldn't get working. And that's why wow, look at that slow kid crawl. We couldn't probably ever get Donkey Kong on the N64, you know, if they hadn't made the moves behind the scenes when they did. But no, you know, just hear the little details about the original vision of DK64, which would have been more in the style of a Crash Bandicoot. Maybe maybe that's a poor comparison. Just having map screens and little 3D stages, though. Oh God, that would have been the operating thing, and I think they would have been maybe not as linear as Crash Bandicoot stages, and maybe that was the problem. You know, maybe it was just too ambitious to really pull off on the N64, and given the time and constraints they were under. But there we go. Every little bit that I've heard about that version of the game sounds so enticing, and maybe it's just a Star Wars Episode 9 kind of thing, where, you know, any hypothetical sounds better than what we got, but had we actually seen it in execution, then we might be changing our tune. Like, everybody goes on about that alternate screenplay to Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. And I was like, oh, that would have been so much better. It's like, would it have, though? I don't really know. Everything I hear about the DK64 OG sounds better to me, but again, they immediately couldn't get it to work, so... Would it have been worth not getting a Donkey Kong game at all on the N64? No, absolutely not. That would have been terrible. I like a lot about Donkey Kong 64, even if I think I'm ultimately disappointed with it, especially in light of Banjo-Kazooie. And like I said, I feel like we have gotten a sequel to DKC 3 at least in Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. I feel like that game does a lot of the stuff that God, I'm bad at this one. That I would have liked to have seen a DKC 4, excuse me, do. Taking the map screen ideas and really fleshing them out into a fully functioning part of the game that's on par with the side-scrolling stages. Damn it. Damn this bonus stage that I've already done on the other save file and several times throughout my life. In Tropical Freeze, while Tropical Freeze doesn't really carry the baton from where DKC 3, I've been talking about Donkey Kong 64 too much, from where DKC 3 left off, I think it is such an outrageously good sequel and does several things that are new to the series, independent of what the previous 4 entries did. Then you're able to overlook. Why was that so hard? You're able to overlook, like, oh, it still has pretty basic map screens, and yeah, it does, but oh, it only has, you know, 1 Kong helper in the game. Yeah, that's okay. Only has 1 animal buddy, you know. Yes. The fact that Tropical Freeze excels as much as it does, given how much it has going against it for maybe traditionally minded Donkey Kong Country fans, I think is a testament to how good of a game it actually is. And like recoils, they were supposed to be in Donkey Kong 64. It's a damn shame. I would have loved to have seen more elements from DKC 3 in Donkey Kong 64. I don't think they were cut when the dev team got its shake up. I don't think that had anything to do with it. It was just more of a practicality thing. Maybe they couldn't really get them to work. Maybe, given the already wonky sort of enemy combat in that game, how, you know, jumping felt super floaty and off, then maybe they thought an enemy that can jump that high is just not a good fit. All right, let's visit Swanky. Hello to Chris in his live stream. Let's do this one more time. I got to do a race to 25. That's my favorite. And here we get a better look at Dixie's all-purple outfit. I like how Cranky's like, it's not a simple game of questions and answers this time, as if like Rare was done with the whole quiz aspect. And then of course Banjo-Kazooie came less than 2 years later. I really like the Swanky's Sideshow throwing games. Once I got like the hang of it again, 'cause there was some rust there, I realized, wow, this is it's got a little, it's just a fun, snappy mechanic. It feels satisfying. Yeah, I have in a different save file. Actually, several different save files, Swanky. I'm actually from the future. All right, let's fight Belcha. Sure, why not? Love the weird ass, vaguely mechanical slash organic. Oh, come on. Bosses in the... Okay, Dixie, go away. This is Kitty's fight. Just having that problem with the Baron K. Rollenstein fight. Just the arc difference between their throwing capability was... required a bit more precision at times. I think Belcha would win, but is Belcha the favorite between Gumdrum and Cleaver, and we'll include King Cutout in there as well. Even though King Cutout is just a piece of cardboard, but I think there's some implied life in there. Dope. Oh, what's happening? Why am I suddenly bad? I wonder what his belches smell like. I mean, they smell like beetles, right? But I don't know. I've never put my nose in the mouth of anybody who just chewed up a bunch of knickknacks. Because knickknacks aren't real. They don't exist. Yeah. Kitty did all of the work, but we'll give Dixie the credit there. And a rare appearance of a cannon in DKC3. The only other time they show up is Big Bessie, I believe, up on Mechanos. Let's see if I can do the horn trick. Yeah. I wonder if the waterfalls reset or if I'm gonna have to go back out. And again, Funky, his most iconic look came from DKC3. Nope, it was a one-shot deal. I can input the code again, I think, so... Let's go ahead and... reset. I put in a save, so it should be okay. Yep. Yep, see? A save was in there, so alright, let's see if I can remember this code. LRR, LRR, LR, LR. Ha! How long is that gonna remain in my memory banks? What I like about the water code is it's not explanatory at all. Like, you don't know... If somebody just tells you there's a code called water, you don't know what that means. The game won't tell you either. Go all the way back. Yeah, you need a patch, Funky. That's exactly what you need. A little fizz tap in the stream. Let's see if the waterfall's active again. And I have to pay attention if it is. Yeah, alright. Alright. X, 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 Y, Y, B. X, 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 Y, Y, B. Alright, there we go. So now, I've got 85 bonus coins. So, cool. Yeah, that's... I like that it makes you work for it a little bit more than the Pirate Panic cheat does. I mean, you have to, like, gingerly jump over bananas there, but... I don't know. It feels more authentic to the game itself. Plus, it's a secret waterfall. That's pretty cool. Secret waterfall cave. And Bazaar. I love Bazaar. He's probably... Gun to my head, if I had to answer which Brothers Bear is best, I would say Bazaar. And it's not because he's actually best. Well, because Bramble and Blizzard are best. But I like Bazaar because of... It's just purely headcanon. It's just headcanon. It's the fact that he's neighbors with Funky. Business neighbors. And... Donkey Kong Land 3 reuses Bazaar's character model for the Sheepy Shop. And while the credits only list him as Bear, leading many people to, in their headcanon, call him a new character, Bear Bear, not to be confused with Banjo's biological father, I think that it's supposed to be Bazaar Bear and that he and Funky went into business together after the events of DKC 3. And open up the Sheepy Shop gambling casino empire. So that's my it's my headcanon. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the shell. Yeah, we'll be very happy together. And look how sweet is Bazaar there. Just have a really nice day now, Kongs. You hear? He's so authentically genuine, Bazaar. So he's my vote for which Brothers Bear is best. Freak out, freak out. Spare parts for my boats are what it's all about. Maybe he'll be in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe via the booster course pass. Maybe he'll be there with Diddy and Dixie. Who knows? We've got more slots. 5 more slots, it looks like, potentially. Let's give the shell to Bazaar. And like Lake Orangutan, it's not my favorite world, but the general idea of it as a setting, as a location, I think I really dig it. It's probably the environment I would want to live in. If I had to pick what Donkey Kong Country locale out of all of the games, DKU locale I would most want to live in, I think this is my ideal right here, Lake Orangutan, because you're near the mountains, you've got this very placid environment, temperate, but still with snow. I don't know, I think this is it for me. This is where I would want to live. It's comfortable. It's scenic. The only thing I wouldn't like would be all of the tourists, but I grew up near a national park, so I'm used to tourism, and considering, like, there's varying degrees of tourism tolerance when you're a local. If they are there for nature, then generally I'm cool with them, because they're generally going to be laid back and chill. If it was a different type of tourism, that invited and welcomed loud, trashy people, like you I don't know, live next to well, I don't want to be judgy, but I was gonna say the Sturgis motorcycle rally. If you live in Sturgis, where they have the like huge motorcycle convention basically every August, I wouldn't like that. That wouldn't be my type of tourism, because people just revving their motorcycles. And if you like motorcycles, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want to be around thousands of them. So, Yeah, like orangutan is where I want to live, for sure. Alright, well, that's about it for DK Vine Done Slow, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. Or you know what? We will let's go back to home base before we end it. Yeah, it's K. Rool. Did nobody tell you, Funky, what has happened? Alright, well, I love Donkey Kong Country 3, and I hope this series of slow-moving streams... If you already love DKC3, I hope you enjoyed this. If you were on the fence about DKC3, I hope it maybe moved the needle for you a little bit. And if you've never played DKC3, I hope it inspires you to try it out, either here on the Nintendo Switch Online, on the Switch, or seeking out an original, authentic Super Nintendo cartridge, or, you know, even the Game Boy Advance remake, which the Game Boy Advance remake, people may argue and quibble about, you know, the David Y soundtrack, which is superior, that or the Evelyn Novakovic soundtrack, but I think it's still a fine way to experience DKC3. And yeah, I really rediscovered my own love for this playing this. Like I said last time, I was on the fence. I didn't know if this would change my mind at all. And it did change my mind in that it made me realize that I loved it even more than I was giving myself credit for. So that's a fun experience to know that child me wasn't wrong about something. Yeah. So this is it for DK Vine Done Slow, DKC3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. But I will be back for the next round, the next game for DK Vine Done Slow. It won't be next week. I'm going to take some breathing room between series. But when I resume DK Vine Done Slow, I'm going to do something a little bit different next time around. And it might be something that doesn't take as long as some of these games sometimes do, in honor of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and in honor of this increased prominence, this increased public perception of Mario and Donkey Kong's interconnectivity. I will be playing the very first time the modern Donkey Kong and Mario cross paths completely in the same game. I will be playing Mario Kart 64, which I don't know how that's going to go, considering all of the Mario Karts that have come since then that all play differently. It's going to be a struggle for sure, but it should be fun. I will be doing all of the modes, all of the engine classes up through mirror mode, trying to completely beat the game with Donkey Kong, of course, and pointing out all the little details along the way for a very important part of the DKU, the very first DKU cameo game where Donkey Kong appears in a Mario game. So check that out when I resume. This Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. GMT, because we're still going to be on the 4-hour split. Daylight savings time is kicked in for most of the US and Canada. It's not kicked in for the UK and other territories. So we'll be DK Vine Stream of Thieves. We'll be kicking off Season 9 in Sea of Thieves. That will be exciting. I believe if you watch our stream, you will even be given access to Twitch drops. So that's exciting there. The Idaho crew will be back this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. They will be still slogging away at World of Light, trying to beat it as Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo and Kazooie, excuse me. It's Banjo and Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is the name of the game that they first debuted in as a partnering duo. Banjo, of course, debuted in Diddy Kong Racing. And yeah, that's it. Let's say hi to the Queen Banana Bird. She's still in prison. Oh yeah, go to Wrinkly's Cave. She'll tell you what to do. We already did that, though. The game just doesn't save this little part of it. Don't slip up. Oh, the banana pun. I'm glad we got one last banana pun in. I love you, Donkey Kong Country 3. I'm sorry that the rest of the world doesn't understand you the way I do. This Brothers Bear is best.